song and I'll turn it off when she gets. Greetings, everyone. Welcome. I'm Kalechi Agwim, the Executive Director of Appeal Incorporated. Welcome to this. This is our third installment, but this is actually the first of a two-part series within a series, I suppose. We really want to start to engage our youth in terms of entrepreneurship, not just to create jobs for themselves, but to create jobs for others in our community. A key part of the mission of Appeal is empowering the community, and the key to that is empowering the next generation of youth. Otherwise, all the work we do now, when we're gone, there's nobody to carry it on. We need to get them thinking about a different relationship with money than we had even at their age. So I welcome everyone. Today we have one of our illustrious members, a strong supporter of Appeal. He's always available when we call on him. He's one of the most successful long-distance runners in terms of entrepreneurs and businesses in our community. And really, he's an international star. He probably doesn't like that label, but he's the raw food vegan chef for the stars. You know, stars like Woody Harrelson and people like that. When they come to DC, you know, they look for Kepler. He's trained a lot of their personal chefs, but so he's had a long time being an entrepreneur and being successful at it. So I'm very grateful to have him be willing to come and share with us and share with the youth. He's always willing to share with the youth and share with the community. So we're thankful to have Brother Kepler Anu from Kepler's Raw Food Juice Bar and several other things. I'll let him elaborate on that as well. Welcome, Brother Kepler.
All right, thank you. All right, okay. What do I just hit the arrow? Collection. I just hit the arrow?
Yeah.
Any arrow? Okay. All right. Well, before we turn the lights off, I want to, I'm just so interested and curious about you, especially the youth. So I just want everyone to quickly say your name and who you are, a little bit about yourself. Anyone can start. Let's start over here.
I got to stand up.
If you want. Yeah, stand up.
My name is Alani.
How old are you?
21.
My name is Yadashi. I'm 21 also.
Okay.
My name is Kofi. I'm 14.
14. All right. Welcome. Yes, sir.
My name's I'm 41.
My name's Ayana, I'm 15.
Okay. I know you.
I am Jabari. I'm 15.
My name is Maya, and I'm 17.
Okay. All right. All right.
I'm Sydney and I'm 14.
Okay.
I'm Rana and I'm 11.
Okay.
That's a lot of 15.
All right. All right. Yeah. If you want.
I'm 45.
Oh, okay.
I'm Kalechi and I'm
Yeah, I don't want to.
my 45th birthday. So,
Yeah.
Oh, today?
All right. All right.
Right.
Oh, we lost Sarah.
I'm El Tahuti. I'm 68,
Okay.
and I'm a member of Appeal, and I am firmly convinced that the liberation and the progress for our people lies in developing intergenerational wealth.
Sure.
So I think this is top priority.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, yes. Go ahead. What's your name?
I'm Wendy.
Whaley.
Wendy,
Wendy.
I'm 47, and I am a new entrepreneur.
All right. All right.
21 plus.
Okay. Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been ever since I gave birth to my son 14 years ago.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we might as well have everyone speak. Yes, sir. What's your name?
Oh, George Clark, and I'm 68,
Okay.
and I've been an entrepreneur all my life. My family has always been entrepreneurs, and I do financial services.
Okay. All right. Great. Yes, ma'am.
Cynthia Clark. I'm an entrepreneur as well, 20 plus years.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. You might as well speak.
Martin, entrepreneur and real estate.
All right. All right. All right. Awesome. Okay. All right. I don't necessarily need this slide. I wanted to start with kind of an urban tale or legend. Not really urban, but one of the things in terms of developing the mindset, when we or the consciousness, that's the word we use as a title of this talk, the consciousness, the mindset of an entrepreneur. Story goes, it was a battle, and it was on the coast, on the sea, and the one faction where they basically were coming into land, they were outmatched, outmanned, and basically they only, let me go back to the other slide. Once they arrived on the coast, they could retreat on their boats, or they could fight. The general commanded them to burn the boats. They left thereby leaving no retreat, no way out. So they burned the boats, and as legend has it, they were victorious. Basically, by burning the boats, you leave no other option but to you either succeed or you die. That's the mindset of an entrepreneur. You succeed or you die. So I wanted to start with that because this is not for the masses. This is not for everyone. If there were 100 people in this room, less than 10, less than 5 even, would be an entrepreneur. Because it is not for everyone. Everyone can't put themselves in that situation. It is human nature for us to go the quote unquote safe route, to seek security. So, with that said, this is part 1, developing the consciousness of the young entrepreneur, how to never be unemployed. That's me. All right, so let's start with consciousness. You know, consciousness is a mindset. Let's turn off the light. So you know, when we talk about consciousness, you know, it's a mindset. It's what we think. Our thoughts are really, you know, they say thoughts become things. You know, and every thought is something that will manifest itself at some point. They say all things are created twice. You know, if you know, nothing is created without it first becoming a seed or a thought in your mind. So what we think and how we think and what we think about is what will manifest itself eventually. And everything starts with subconscious mind. Y'all know what I mean by subconscious mind? Can somebody tell me what they think subconscious mind is? One of our young people, subconscious mind. It sounds like you want to say, what's your name? Ezra. 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 Okay, all right, I get it. What you think? Subconscious mind.
It's like you don't have to think about it to do it. It's in your mind subconsciously. So it's kind of like muscle memory.
Kind of like what?
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. Interesting. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yes, I would say the subconscious mind is your spirit. Is what there's a good way to the way I think of it is like the difference between, because next we have the conscious mind. So the conscious mind is what you say, but the subconscious is what you do. You know, we all say what we're going to do, but we do what we do. And it's the subconscious that directs the conscious. Now, right now, the conscious mind is dominant. The subconscious mind is dominant when we sleep. So that's connected with our dreams. But it's the subconscious mind that really controls the conscious mind. Just like this is the female, and that's the male. It is really the female that controls the relationship. Okay, you know, the man can say or you know say what it's going to be, but it's really the female. And that's the dynamic in the brain. You know, and it's like, so how do we get these to work together harmoniously? Well, the thing is like, you know, obviously there are techniques like meditation, but every thought, you know, we have to watch our thoughts. We have to understand that these things are, the subconscious and the conscious obviously are always working, but the conscious mind obviously goes to sleep when we go to sleep. But the subconscious mind is active and awake. Okay? Visualization. You know, the subconscious is very visual, pictures, imagination. That is what really separates us from basically other living organisms, is the fact that we have the power to imagine, to create. And then, of course, emotion. The subconscious mind is the emotional mind. Okay? The conscious mind is like, okay, yes, you know, we're planning, we're thinking, we're working, you know, it's busy. But it's the subconscious mind that is connected with emotion. And when we break this word up, it's emotion. So the thing is like, when we connect all these things in terms of understanding the power of the mind, we want to connect with the positive emotions, even though the negative emotions are just as powerful and they're useful, like fear and anger, but also love, hope, faith. You know, these are the things that we want to visualize. If it's your wish, whatever your wish is, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether just to be successful at whatever you want to do, visualization, using positive emotions, connecting with our subconscious mind, you know, allowing your thoughts to be the seeds of the things that you want to create. This is all consciousness. All right, so this is where I engage you. You know, entrepreneurs is something that we all pretty much understand, but what does it really mean? So what does being an entrepreneur, anybody?
Control.
Huh?
Control.
Control, okay, all right. All right, anybody else?
A risk taker.
A risk taker. Good, anybody? Yes.
Someone who can adapt to it.
Okay. Adaptable. Yes, sir.
A dreamer.
A dreamer. All right, let's see what we got here. Business owner. Wealthy. Most oftentimes not. What else I have here? Freedom, we said control. So we got freedom. Leader. I mean, it really could mean, or does mean, all of the above, and even including what you all said. However, you know, for me, and I would really say this probably for any entrepreneur, that is not the most important thing. So, I want to create a financial incentive. Anybody that can come up with what I deem to be the most important aspect of entrepreneurship. Yes.
Make a profit.
Matter of fact, $20. Anybody? We'll give up to 3 guesses. Yes. I'll give a hint. It does start with a P, but it's not profit.
Prosperity.
Power.
That's good, but no. One more. Well, couple more. Yeah, you said proactive. No.
Product?
Product?
Persistence.
No.
Pride.
No.
Potential.
No. One more.
Peace, maybe?
But no. But good guess. Purpose. 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 Purpose is the why. Anytime anybody, you know, in my business, you know, I usually have people that want to get into this business. I may see them even opening up a business. It's always, my question is always, okay, why are you doing this? What does this mean to you? If there is no purpose, there's no profit. There's no power. There's no, what was the other words? Prosperity. It's all about purpose. It's all about why. If there's no why, then there's no anything. Being an entrepreneur is going to be, this is why you would want to be an entrepreneur. If there's no purpose in terms of you understanding why you're doing what you're doing, then you need to, because what's going to happen is like either you have a purpose, a higher purpose, or you're going to help fulfill someone else who has that higher purpose, a la employee. Okay, so you won't be able to have that control, because the thing is like the last thing is profit. The last thing. It is never about the money. Steve Jobs, one of the most successful entrepreneurs ever, definitely was as successful as Apple is, even beyond him existing on this physical plane. It wasn't never about the money. What was it about with him? Okay, what was his purpose behind the Apple industry? Like, what was his main purpose? His main focus? Okay, yes, we know that, but what about it? Okay, how they work, yes.
I think his main purpose was to make the computer industry accessible to the everyday person.
Okay, but Microsoft was trying to do that too. Dell was trying to do that too.
But no, Microsoft was more about doing it for business. He wanted it for the everyday. I mean, the average person who didn't know technology. That's what I believe. I've read it somewhere. He wanted to make it accessible to the everyday man.
Okay, but even more than that.
Okay.
Even more than that.
Okay.
Okay. This talk, and even next week, that's the last thing we think about. Is money. The money is the means to an end. If you come up with a business idea and your first reason is to, how much money it can make, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail. This is never about the money. With Steve Jobs, his main focus was making whatever device or whatever machine look beautiful. He was an artist. When he was in college, he took what? Calligraphy. Okay, when he took back over Apple, he was like, man, these, the whole thing was making the beautiful looking machines. He's an artist truly at heart. Okay, so again, it wasn't about the money. Yes, they were it's still, even beyond his death, I think it's the #1 company in the world. Okay, but it was all about the beauty. Yes, the functionality and all those other things was important, but the beauty, he was an artist, truly at heart. So purpose. Now, when you are connected with that purpose, it will feed the next thing. The next P I didn't hear, passion. You was going to say that. You didn't. Okay, so purpose and passion. When you have purpose and passion, then everything else will happen. Money and power, becoming a leader, but it starts with the purpose and the passion. I just had a cool looking picture there. All right, next. The $20 still on the table. Well, it's not for this, but what's required to own a business? We talked about some of these things already. What's required? Well, no, some of the more, okay, yes, idea, idea.
Capital.
Money, capital.
Plan.
Business plan. Products, inventory.
Commitment.
You got money, commitment. What about college? Got MBA here.
Credentials.
No, the college.
About leadership.
Good idea, business plan. I wanted to talk a little bit about college because, young people, you're in high school. Obviously everything that we learn in our society, and especially whether it's from our parents, unless your family is, entrepreneurs, as I've heard, it's obviously, the mantra is what? Go to school, get an education, go to college. And the thing is like, that whole route is really everything about that is anti-entrepreneurship. Because the thing is like, and it wasn't always like that, because one of the surefire ways to really start your own business is to learn what? A trade. A trade. And it's almost like we shun at trades, doing hair, plumbing, or chef, as I am. So those are some of the things for young people to start thinking about. If you like, using your hands, doing things that, again, most of us don't want to do. And the thing is like, again, people from other countries, they come to this country and they're very proficient at doing these things, and they set up businesses, okay? Because for them, as I talked about earlier with burning your boats, a lot of people from whatever, countries all over the world come here and they burn their boats. There is no, it's like succeed or die. Okay, so whatever skills, whatever they can bring, they can cook, they can sew, they can do hair, they set up businesses, they have control, they make money, they're on their own schedule. These are some of the things that we, going to college, because what happens when we go to college? Now, college, I'll just say, number one, college is definitely overrated. There are some useful things about college. What are some useful things? The networking. Networking is very powerful in college. That's probably the number one thing college can help, is to be able to connect with basically the future of people that you meet during that time in your life. What else is college great for? Well, if you want to become, there's a handful of majors or a handful of professions. If you're not trying to become a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, like a scientist or a researcher, college is probably going to be a waste of time and money, especially the cost of college. Now, if you go to community college and you can save money there, not go into any debt, be a student loan, and then get a scholarship. Again, now that will probably be worth it for you. But unless you go in that route, whether it's even if it's it doesn't have to be community college, but if you're not basically overpaying, because it's like you're just, a lot of us at 18, we don't know what we it's very rare that someone at 18 really knows what they want to do, even if they have sort of a loose idea. I'm sure all of us that are over 40 can speak to that. At 18, what we thought we were going to do. I thought I was going to be an engineer. Now I'm a raw food chef. So I would have never, ever imagined that taking place. So college, though it can be a good idea, unless you're one of those select few majors, then it probably won't be a good idea. Yes?
I just wanted to say, I'm 68 and I'm still figuring out what I want.
All right, that's what's up. Yeah.
I just want to highlight what you were saying about the MBA, because I went for my MBA, and I specifically chose entrepreneurship. And the whole course was about preparing me to run a department in somebody else's business. I'm like, this is entrepreneurship. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. Any MBA program is preparing you, again, to fulfill someone else's purpose. Period. Yes, sir.
Well, MBA is business administration, which is not MBE, which is entrepreneurship. So that's one of the things I think that people get confused as to exactly what an MBA is. And so college does help you in terms of administration and organization, but the drive and the other things is something you have to get outside, or it has to come from within you.
Right. Yeah, so college, again, while it could be a good idea, you may need that time to figure it out. I spent 12 years in college. 12 years. And only have a bachelor to show for it. I was very close to my master's. But And I was in and out. It wasn't 12 years like, you know, completely. And I, you know, transferred schools and, you know, took time off. So, but from basically 1990, 2002, in and out of college. So I, you know, it took me 12 years. And I think even then, even when I got into the lifestyle I'm in now, I wasn't, you know, I was like, oh, the last thing I want is a restaurant. I don't want to be tied down. I don't want to have to be in the kitchen and all that. Again, just based on the programming and the American way, the American thought process, how we're trained as American children to you know, to not work. But the thing is like, again, as an entrepreneur, you know, it becomes all about leverage. We're going to talk about leverage a little later, okay? Because that's going to be important. But now here's the money question. Because we understand that all of these things can or could be good things in terms of, you know, owning a business. However, again, the $20 question, once again, y'all failed me the first time. Let's see if we can come up with this thing the second time. What is the most important requirement?
Persistence.
No. Okay, it's a dedication to what?
Yourself?
No.
Your business?
No. There's an aspect of your business. What aspect of your business? Yeah.
Helping others.
There you go. My man got it. All right. All right. That, again, we go back to passion. We go back to purpose. This is success. Oh, you got it with the picture. You saw the picture. I see. See, I should have. But good. That's good. That's good.
I saw, you know, that's
When you have a dedication to service, to serving, to helping your fellow man, whatever it may be, then that will lead to a successful life. Because as long as you are helping others, you are really helping yourself. So the thing is like, again, we think about this entrepreneurship. We're not thinking about money. We're not thinking about profit. We're not to beat up on you. But we're not thinking about prosperity, because prosperity is the helping of others. Okay, so it may be part of you's wish to even start a nonprofit. Even the creation of Appeal was again started with the thought and the idea of helping the African American community financially. Okay, and that's why so many people gravitated to it. It's not because, okay, we want to, we want to control our resources and we want to build economic wealth. But at the core of it, we're like, wow, we really connect with that. So the commitment to service is the most important requirement. And if you're not in it for that, if you're not willing to, they say, because what's the motto? Customer is always right. Well, in Japan, they took it another level. They say the customer is God. Now, how many of us can humble ourselves to truly bow to your customer? See, not many of us, because again, the conditioning and the training and the programming of being an American, and it's like when we really become entrepreneur, again, it's purpose, service. Purpose and service, and that's it. Everything else comes. Employee versus entrepreneur. So we went through some of these things, but just to give you, just to kind of, because again, we're trained to become employees. Even if you go get your MBA, you're trained to basically become a glorified employee. So let's look at some of the employee traits or aspects. Safe. Okay, you want to get that safe, secure job. All right. Steady. Get that check every week, every 2 weeks, twice a month. Status quo. You know, again, the employee again is fulfilling the function of allowing the world to exist, the hierarchical structure. Now again, our world is set up so that most people will be employees. That's just the way it is. Again, if there were 100 people or there's 20 of us, again, there's only going to be probably less than 10%. Basically, let me flip it. There's going to be 90% that are going to be in this category. That's just how it is. That's just the nature of it. An A student. Again, they say that the employees, that the A student usually will become, again, an employee. They're the good students. Not that the A student can't be an entrepreneur, but typically the A student will be the employee. Resource-oriented. Again, they're concerned about, you know, money and finance, and as we should be. That's survival. Security. Now let's look at the entrepreneur.
What would you say is the difference between orientation towards safety and orientation towards security? Is security more of a protective?
Well, again, they're really kind of the same thing. I really was just I wanted to match up the asterisks versus the so we have safe entrepreneur. There's no safety net with entrepreneurship. There's no when you're an employee, you got insurance, you got workers' comp. You know, if you get fired, you know, you got unemployment benefits. You got benefits.
You got a guarantee.
There's no benefits over here. There's no steady. 1 year, rolling in the dough. The next year, it's dry as a desert. That's how it is. Rebel. With an employee is the so again, if you're a naturally rebellious person, then you may be an entrepreneur. You know, you you're having trouble in school, and you don't want to listen to your parents. You want to listen to that's. But again, there's levels to that, and there's I mean this obviously is a good thing, but it can also not be a good thing, obviously. The entrepreneur is usually the B student. And there's a saying like the A students work for the B students. Okay? I mean, in school I was kind of an A-B student. I mean, as hard as I tried, I actually never did get straight A's. I think with the entrepreneur, when you have the entrepreneurial mindset, it's almost like, well, I don't necessarily need to know every little detail. When you're an A student, you gotta know. In our educational system, you gotta know every little detail to get that A. Okay? The B student is like, look, I just need to know the gist of it. Okay? See, that's the entrepreneurial mindset. That's like, okay, I'm doing just good enough. Nobody's mad at a B. Okay, and I know just enough of it. The entrepreneur is not concerned with the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Opportunity. Now this goes against the resource. Where the employee is more resource oriented. Entrepreneurs are not concerned about what he has, what he or she has or doesn't have. They're just looking at more of the opportunities that's available. and freedom. Okay, so they say that freedom is not free. However, when we look at this versus security, again, there's no, well, we got benefits over here. There's no insurance plan. There's no retirement plan. Okay, this is really about, again, aligning with your purpose, being of service, and everything else. Yes?
Going back to the employee part, when you're talking about safe and security and things like that, if
Right.
you think about it from a spiritual point of view, you're not safe. You're safe, spiritually, emotionally, you're not safe. It's almost a detriment.
Absolutely.
And I just quit my job like 6 months ago after working for 25 years in corporate and whatever, and it was to the point where I could not take another second, spiritually, emotionally, physically. It was just wearing on me, and I mean, I put a plan in place, but the people who are still there, and you know, they're looking at me like, well, how did you do that? Why did you do it? You know what I'm saying? But then they're still suffering, and they're still complaining, and they don't necessarily feel safe. So and they're stressed out, just like totally stressed out, and they're stressed out to create wealth for somebody else's family.
Yes, and basically what you essentially become is an economic slave. That's what you become. I mean, it's really not that much different than any other form of, I mean, yes, it's definitely different. We're not in shackles and getting whipped, but spiritually we are. Because the thing is like, again, you know, the only difference between, like, you know, when slavery ended, is because, you know, the slave was essentially taken care of. That was an investment for the slave owner. You know, so they, again, you know, the slave didn't have to pay rent. They didn't have to buy their food. You know, again, it was like, you know, again, it was a business. So it's like, okay, yeah, we can end slavery, but this actually can be better economically. You know, because the thing is like, now we don't have to, you know, we don't have to worry about, you know, feeding and housing. Those are huge expenses. The maintenance. Anybody that's in business or understands anything in terms of, you know, operating, you know, if you have a car, you know, maintenance is the major cost of anything. Anything you own, especially when you have a business, the maintenance costs are huge. So yes, basically, you know, this is one route, and this is how we're all trained, again, because, you know, the powers that be, they're going to want to maintain the status quo. But obviously, you know, if you know, when you align, again, going back to purpose, and, you know, you can create, because that's what, you know, at the end, control, freedom of your time, of your effort. And the thing is like, the biggest thing is when you align with your purpose and that fulfills your passion, then you may be working hard, but it's not work. It's not work.
I'd like to
Sure.
make a comment here, just based on some of the things you were saying there, that the maintenance costs, that's how I define money or look at money. Maintenance costs of wealth. You know, that's what's needed to, you know, develop or produce something that's productive, provides a service or whatever.
Okay. Yes. Anybody familiar with the 80-20 principle? Okay, we know you are. Any young people wanna? What does the 80-20 principle? What is that? Get you guys thinking.
I haven't read the particular book, but I believe it's 20% get the 80%. to
Add up to 100.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm messing with you. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. All right. Good.
But just going off the top of the secret of achieving more with less is the concept that the leadership can control the 80%. Just like you said, the employee versus the entrepreneur. There's a percentage of a group that controls the rest of society. So that's the concept. That's what I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the 80-20 is something that really is really present in everyone's life, down to the clothes that you wear. And essentially it goes like this. 20% of your clothes you'll wear 80% of the time. Okay? So basically this is one of the key business principles, because as a business owner, when you understand that basically, okay, so in business, it's real simple. 80% of your income will come from 20% of your customers. And 80-20 is generally that usually it falls. It could be 90-10, it could be 60-40 or 70-30, but it's going to be a leverage principle. And the thing is like, again, and this goes back to even difference between an A student and a B student. Now, how much time, what it takes the A student to get straight A's versus the B student to get straight B's, the A student probably spent a lot more time getting A's versus the B student said, you know what, I'm only going to spend just enough time to get that B, and I'm going to do some other stuff. Okay, so as a business owner, it's a leverage principle. So it's all about, it's your time, how you spend your time, because again, you're trying to get the most with the least amount of effort. Okay, so, and obviously your money.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will admit, I just realized something too. I think it's also in most organizations, 20% usually do most of the work.
Oh, that's in any organization, any business, especially in something like a church.
Right.
You got this, the 20%, right? That's going to do 80% of the work. Again, this is a nature principle.
That's appeal.
But that's every organization. When you have if you have a business, you're going to have those select few that do the most. Okay, so like I said, as a business owner, you realize who your 20% is, and you always want to focus on that 20 and devote 80% of your time on that 20, because from a leverage standpoint, you're going to get the most with the least. This is a book that I read back when I was in college. One of the books. So it's a quick read, but basically I summed it up. Now, from the entrepreneur, now this is an interesting connection with this, is that, and this is the reason I wanted to share this, the entrepreneur will do 20% of the work, but receive 80% of the income. And then it's obviously vice versa. The employee does 80% of the work, but will receive 20% of the income. So we see how this principle, in terms of becoming, again, burning your boats, connecting with your purpose, being passionate about it, this can be your result. Wisdom of trees. Anybody can take a stab at how old this tree is, or?
150 years.
Okay, how many thousands?
3,000.
Okay, yeah, this is called the bristlecone pine tree. It's one of the oldest living organisms on the earth. On average, it will live to 5,000 years. So it's just amazing. I just found it amazing You know, one of the things that I like to consider myself a student of nature, and you know, by studying nature, you know, and being an entrepreneur, being in business, you understand that everything has a cycle, and when you connect and you understand that, and we start looking at things in nature, you know, the sun and the moon and the stars and the plants and the trees. And we understand the trees, and I love trees because, you know, I consider them the king of the plant world. Okay, so, you know, in the plant world we got vines, we got grass, we have you know, all of these things that grow out of the earth, but it's really the trees. When we look at the anatomy of the tree, you know, we see it has roots, okay? It has a trunk, you know, so the trunk and the roots, they create a solid foundation, okay? But what did it start with? A seed, okay? And this is what we have to become in business. We have to become the symbolism of a tree is will bring everlasting success. Now this tree, I did some research into this tree. You see all these these crevices and these lines. These trees exist in very harsh conditions. High altitude, 5,000. Is it kilometers or? I think it's kilometers. Yeah. Is that right? 5,000 feet. 5 to 10,000 feet above sea level. So it's high wind, very cold. But again, thousands of years. This actually grows in the U.S. Yeah, in the different like Midwest and West. So you know, just understanding the anatomy of trees. Now trees, again. Now we come up with an idea, which is a seed, right? But then we have to what? We have to nurture that seed. We have to plant that seed. We have to root that seed. And that seed got to go through cycles. That's time. So the thing is again, this is not for, this is why, again, it comes back to purpose. Because again, it's never about the money. It's never about any of those things that people will see if you can endure. This kind of tree endures thousands of years. That's amazing. I mean, we think about history and we think about thousands of years ago. This tree was here to tell that story. And the thing is like, you know, people ask me all the time, you know, you want to expand your business? I think about the tree. Okay, and I think, is my tree strong enough yet? Okay, and a lot of times, you know, I come back, not that I wouldn't want that, but again, you know, the thing is like, I've seen businesses try to, you know, they get something good going, and then they dilute themselves, try to expand too much. Or, you know, you have an idea, and then you're off to the next idea. You know, again, because again, you know, going back to what I said, it always comes back to your purpose. Are you living out your purpose? Longevity. You know, when we follow the laws of nature, when we connect with the things around us that exist, we can create this. You know, we have much greater chance of creating longevity and success. As I mentioned, the cycles. You know, and again, you know, the entrepreneur is not the safe route. There is no safety net. There is no boat you can retreat back to. Okay, you on the battlefield. It's succeed or die. So there's no, so in nature, you know, there's cycles of abundance. There's the rainy season, and then there's the dry season. So can you endure? Can you exist psychologically, emotionally, when that dry season comes? Because it's going to come. That's a guarantee. You know, and the thing is, like, you know, becoming an employee, See, the thing is, like, in life, I mean, we all going to have life happen to us, no matter how safe our job is. Because the thing is like, okay, yeah, that job security, because what ends up happening is like now you have everyone at the job because, you know, maybe the job is not so safe. So people start acting certain kind of ways to protect their security, their job. So again, you have people that, you know, because of the conditions, it becomes a very hostile environment. All right. So yes, I believe it's definitely a model for success. This is something I'm developing for my next book. I say my next book, I've written a book about detoxification and fasting, but my next book is going to be more on this kind of thing. Power of sex. What does sex have to do with entrepreneurship? Okay, and I'm not talking about being a sex worker or anything like that. I'm talking about the energy, okay? All of us, especially you young people, are thinking about sex. I know that, okay? It is something that is the reason why we're all here today, okay? And it is one of the most, I consider it the second most powerful urge that we have as human beings. So when we think about becoming successful, becoming an entrepreneur, okay, tapping into your higher self, your greater self, you have to talk about creation. Sex is dealing with life and death, all right? So, again, this is another concept I'm developing, but I say that there are three dominant urges that we have as human beings that exist because that's how we survive, but not only survive, thrive, but also continue. So the first urge is what we do every day, and that's eat. So that's our urge to connect. That's how we connect with the earth. You know, especially if you're on a plant-based diet. But even if you're eating animals, that still comes from the earth. So that's our first, that's how we live, that's how we sustain ourselves. But that second urge is that urge to procreate. And we can only do that through the power of connecting with another human being. And the third urge, I'm not going to get into it deep, but is that urge to connect with our higher self, our God self. Okay, so I'm developing the concept, and there's a lot that goes into it. It's real deep, but I just wanted to bring this up because as young people, especially when you get into those teenage years, that power, that urge to, it becomes so overwhelming and so dominant. And if you don't talk about it, you don't discuss it, but then you don't also realize that you can now, this is a force. And that basically it's going to determine whether you succeed or you fail. And if you don't connect